Hi, I'm Chad, and this is a video on research. It's projected to be one of two videos on research, and this is the basic one, I guess, or basic research skills. Now, it may not be that basic, it may not be that obvious, but compared to the other one, this is where you should start, is what I think. So the first thing to do is to go, what is research? When we think of research, we often think of, kind of a everyday meaning of the term research. So it might be, I need a good recipe for Anzac Day cookies, then I'm going to go and research that on the internet or something like that. That's a very informal way of thinking of what research is and how it works, but it really is only just a beginning. In university, we tend to think of research as defined as creating an original contribution to knowledge. So when someone does a PhD or a research project or postdoctoral research, or academics will be doing research, we're trying to create an original contribution to knowledge. Now, that can be quite broadly defined. Sometimes in an undergraduate degree even, or in your master's, or at any level of study, you might be learning something yourself. So it might be original to you, or it might be a contribution to knowledge of your own. So that could be one way of thinking about it. In any way, the really practical way of thinking about research is finding new information. That's really what it's about. Finding information about a very specific topic, so that you can use that information to create a scholarly argument. That's really how it's formally defined here. So there's lots of different ways of doing that, and I'm going to take you through some of the intuitive and slightly better ways of doing things, and also a couple of hints and tricks that you might not have thought of that can also be very helpful. So where do we go for research? Mostly the internet. Let's go and have a look at that now, and we'll look at some examples of how this will work. So quite often you'll start with Google search. Okay, that's great. That's a good place to start. Okay, don't feel bad about that. There is one important rule. I may have mentioned it before or in another video. Don't stop there. And particularly, don't go to Wikipedia and just use Wikipedia for your citations. That's generally frowned upon. But it's a good place to start if it's a new topic. So, for example, we're doing some work on sustainability. So we might look up sustainability. Okay, usually we'll get a dictionary definition at the very beginning, and it's a very, very broad definition. Okay, there are lots of different ways of defining terms and more discipline-specific ways, and we're looking for a kind of a corporate sustainability type definition. So you'll see at the moment we've got 98 million results. Okay, that's obviously too much to look through at all. But we might just start flicking through a little bit and go Wikipedia. Now, if you want to look at Wikipedia for a basic definition and some suggestion of further insights and further search terms and things like that, by all means do that. But don't stop with that, as I mentioned. So you might look through and go, oh, there's a lot on the Australian curriculum. If you're interested in education and how sustainability is taught in schools, you might look at that. Definition of sustainability, you might look at that. There's a video on what is sustainability. Cool. If you really like videos, then you might look at Google videos, you might look at YouTube. There's going to be many sustainability videos, some of them for kids, some of them a little bit more formal and a little bit more specific and things like that. But hopefully what will happen as you're looking through Google is you're going, oh, sustainability is so broad, it's really, really broad, I need to narrow it down. That's one of the key processes of research, is narrowing down and broadening out. So for example, if we started with corporate sustainability and adaptive challenge for managers and leaders, we probably might not find very many relevant results. It's because our search is too narrow. At the moment, we're looking for sustainability, and it's too broad. So even 451,000 videos is too much. So what do we need to do? We need to narrow that down. So one way of doing that is going, how can we make our search terms more focused? We might look for corporate sustainability. Okay, there we go. We're down to 15 million or 16 million, much closer to something that's kind of worthwhile. So that's a really useful trick, is to think about narrowing down your search terms, no matter what search tool you're using or anything like that. Another good way of doing it is using quotation marks. This will search for a phrase. So what you'll actually see here is that this is just finding anywhere you've got corporate sustainability in the search terms. Now, often tends to come up as a phrase like this anyway, because corporate sustainability fits together. But see here on this one here, how he talks about the wake up call he got about sustainability, and it's not like necessarily linked together. What you can do is you can use quotation marks. This will search for corporate sustainability as a phrase. This is another good narrowing technique. Let's try that. We're down to 1,640,000. Okay, so a couple of very simple techniques to narrow our search terms and come up with fewer results on Google that are a bit more usable. The other skill that you really want to develop is this skill of kind of scanning and skimming the information you're looking at. Being very, very evaluative and trying to identify what's useful and what's not. Now, so for example, what you would do is you'd go down and you go, corporate sustainability, oh yeah, okay, cool, Wikipedia, no, I'm going to skip that, that's okay. What is it and where is it? ivbusinessjournal.com, it's a journal, that's good. I might actually have a look at this one. We might go sustainability indices. I'm not so interested in measuring sustainability at the moment, I just want a definition. The 3 pillars of corporate sustainability, Investopedia, that doesn't sound very scholarly, it sounds a bit dodgy. So I might not look at that. Corporate sustainability, ANZ. Oh, actually, I might have a look at what a corporation says about their sustainability model. So you'll be skipping through and things like that, and skimming and scanning. Don't go through and read everything in a whole amount of detail, and you'll kind of narrow your focus until you start coming across things that you really want to read in a lot more detail. Another really good trick for you to know about is Google is a good start, but particularly for scholarly research, and particularly for an essay at a university level, you might like to use Google Scholar. I misspelt this. Google Scholar. No, Google Scholar is what we want. So Google Scholar is a kind of a narrowed search engine. It's a version of Google, but for scholarly sources. So we can look up sustainability here. And here we've got, straight away we're down to, from 98 million on Google generally, down to 4 million. Now, it looks a little bit different here. So you can see you've got these filters here. That looks like a database, an article database, and we'll have a look at what they look like later. And you've got here titles, journals, authors, things like that. So what I would be doing with this is I would be going, looking at the title towards life cycle sustainability assessment, maybe looking at the authors if you're familiar with authors in the field, and you might be looking at the name of the journal. Okay, so this is the name of the journal here and the year. Okay, sustainability is the type of thing where you might want some older sources for key definitions and things like that, but you might also want some newer sources to get an idea of where things are going for now. So sustainability marketing, what is sustainability? So already Google Scholar has helped us find a much better scholarly definition of sustainability right here from the journal Sustainability. So it'll talk about that in a fair bit more detail. Sustainability science, things like that. We might then again narrow that down. Corporate sustainability, for example, like this. Let's see what we come up with. So we've got 50,000 results, quite a narrow set of results. If you want to narrow it further, a quick thing to do is to use these timelines here. So since 2014, we're down to 17,000. Since 2017, okay, 7,000. We're starting to get fairly focused here. We might put some extra search terms in there and get even more narrow focus on how that looks. But I'll talk more about Boolean searching in the later video on this, which can help you get even more narrow kind of search results. So there's a kind of a key helpful thing. You've got Google, but Google Scholar is a really useful kind of more narrow way of doing things. Bit of a pro tip here. If you want to use Google Scholar, you've probably had the experience of hitting paywalls where they go, oh, do you want this journal? Pay $30. Very frustrating, right? That's probably because you're not on the university network and you're not using your university student login in any way. What I would encourage you to do is go through the library. So university library page, that's the URL there. Pretty easy to find from the university homepage anyway. This is a site that you should be very used to going to by the end of your studies. Look at databases. Oh, no, databases. Sorry about that. I want to go back. Databases A to Z and find Google Scholar here. See, we're going through the library website, Google Scholar. It asks us for a login. So this is telling the system, I'm a student, please use all of my library's, subscriptions to journals and things like that. And it'll take us to Google Scholar here. You've got my profile, my library. See, we're kind of like signed in, right? When you go through the library, you're not going to, or through the library databases here, you're not going to be asked every time for your login. So go to Google Scholar through the library website. Pro tip, that's a good way to get full text access there like that. There are other databases that you can use, and I'll go through that in another video, but I want to keep it kind of pretty straightforward here. Now, when you're using the library, again, you should get very used to using the library search tool. And for example, if you want if you want an electronic version of one of the readings here, you'd type in the title, and we've got Enabling Change for Corporate Sustainability and Integrated Perspective. This is Ben and Dunphy, one of those key readings there. Now, there's a reason why I'm showing you how to do this. You click on the title, okay, and then these are databases. These are where the journals are available via databases. So I just tend to click on the first one. Okay, I've already logged in via Google Scholar. You would normally be asked to log in if you kind of just go in straight and you haven't logged in already on that browser. And this is getting towards the actual journal via the database. Okay, so here's the thing, and you've got PDF. Okay, so this is something that hopefully you get very used to doing. Okay, that you're looking for journal articles, looking through the library, finding them, getting the PDFs, and then you would go through, and this is maybe another video, reading skills. You would then go through and go, oh, okay, so the authors, I know these authors, Ben and Dunphy, they work a lot together in this field. I would go, I'd have a look at the date and go, well, that's not too long ago. That's pretty good. I'd go down and I'd look at this as like the kind of abstract. So I'd read that and go, oh yeah, this is looking good. We propose a schema in the form of an integrated phase model for understanding how corporations move from compliance to strategic standard. Good, the phase model, that's what I want. I want that kind of, that's very relevant to my essay, and I'm going to have a look for that in particular. Now, one of the things that people don't tend to think of that's really useful in research is looking at the reference list of the journals they're reading. So this is a piece of knowledge, okay, an original contribution to knowledge, because this is research from the authors, and they've based that on a whole bunch of previous knowledge. So if we want to learn more about their ideas and where they've based their ideas from, we can go straight down to the reference list. Now, we may be reading and we may see references in here. So Stace and Dunphy, 2001. Oh, I really like this point. I'm going to go down and have a look at their reference list and find Stace and Dunphy, 2001, Beyond the Boundaries. But then I might also like, if this is a really key article, I might actually like to just scroll through here and go, a case of strategic sustainability, Fuji Xerox Eco Manufacturing. Oh, there's a good case. This will be Ben and Dunphy, and they're kind of an example of their ideas and their phase model in a particular case here. So looking through the reference list is a really good kind of initial kind of research skill. So that's the video on kind of introductory research skills or kind of basic research skills. There's a lot more to it than that, and so I'll do another video later on that uses or helps you use tools in some different ways and some more advanced research skills. Really, the key piece of advice is to have a go. Get used to these systems, get used to the library system, get used to searching and finding information. Sometimes it's trial and error, sometimes it's the detective job, but it's always a bit of a journey. So I hope that's been useful for now, and see you in the next video. Thanks.